Happy Monday, happy Labor Day to all of you trailblazers that's tuning in. If it's your first time catching one of my live broadcasts, or if you are one of my trusted old trailblazer friends that's been around these here parts for quite some time, welcome. My name is Tabitha Christopher of tabithachristopher.com. My company founded the Mind Style Makeover Bootcamp. It is a character and resilience building training program that provide students in college, high school, and middle school with a roadmap to succeed academically, athletically, socially, and emotionally. My company engages in these specialized character and resiliency training programs for diverse groups outside of young people as well, professionals that are watching this right now over on LinkedIn and different platforms that you may be tuning in on. Just to give you all a heads up, I am live on multiple platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. You're able to join in every single Monday for this Mind Style Makeover Monday chat. Today, we're going to be talking about the topic that can be pretty unnerving, and it is facing your fears in order to own your story. Now, I don't have a script in front of me today, and I was literally searching my mind and trying to determine which story I should share with you. Should it be a funny story? Should it be one full of adventure? Should it be one that would keep you on the edge of your seats? Hello, Savannah. Hello, Yolanda. Welcome, welcome. I wasn't sure which story to go with, and I was hoping that you could tell me what story you would like to hear. I have one that is full of adventure. It's hilarious. And there's one that is full of adventure, but it's pretty intense. My connection is kind of slow. So you may give me a comment and I may get it much later. But how about this? How about I go with the one that's like, it's funny, but is full of adventure. I'm not going to get into much details of it. This particular topic of facing one's fears came to me in multiple forms, multiple opportunities throughout my childhood, all the way into adulthood. But there's one story that I absolutely love to share, and it is, hello, is that Dr. Angel? Hey, Dr. Angel. This one is scuba diving and the shark. I'm just going to give highlights of this on what took place. It was a beautiful summer. Hello, Bully Recovery. It was a beautiful summer. I was 10 years old, and my older sister had the bright idea that what she wanted to do for the summertime was to learn how to scuba dive. Hey, is that Aaron? Hey, Aaron. And I was like, that sounds great for you. Go right ahead. Have at it. Knock your socks off. Well, she doesn't bat an eye before she leans into me, which I have already went back to playing with my Barbie dolls. I'm not even studying what that whole topic of wanting to learn how to scuba dive. She already knows. Me and the sea are not to be, even though I was born and raised in the Caribbean, surrounded by the Caribbean Sea. She sits there and leans in and says to me, but Tabi, I need you to go with me to ask Daddy and Mommy if we could do this together. Trailblazers, I don't even bother to look up at her, okay? Because I already know that she's up to one of her schemes, okay? I keep playing with my Barbie doll, and I lay out emphatically, nope. Just nope. What? Whatever. And then she persists to beg and plead. And I repeatedly say, no, no, nope. How many ways you want me to say no to you? Me going to no scuba diving lessons with you. You could go by yourself. And she said, please, mommy and daddy will not agree unless both of us are doing this together. I said, well, then I guess you're just not doing it. Well, my sister was determined that this particular summer she was going to learn how to scuba dive, even if it meant telling a long tale that I, her younger sister, desperately desired the same. She convinced my father, which was all she needed to convince was my father because he was the one that was going to be paying for it, that I and her wanted to learn how to scuba dive. And my father then brought us out later on that very same Saturday. Was it Saturday? I don't remember what day it was. It was summertime, so it could have been any day because we were out of school. He brings us out to the kitchen to have this discussion about how we were going to be spending our summer. And I was very excited. I had no idea that she had this conversation with my dad, our dad, behind my back. And he announces that my sister and I are going to be doing scuba diving lessons. Trailblazers, I became unhinged as I then let my dad know. I told my sister I had no interest. I don't want to do scuba diving lessons. I hated swimming lessons and I hate everything to do with the sea. I want nothing to do with it. And my dad then said, Tab, how you gonna be born on an island surrounded by nothing but water and you have a fear of the sea? I said, Daddy, let's just let it be. That's just how it is with me. I said, them big creatures in the water and me don't need to become friends. We're not meant to be friends. I am good here on the land as they are good there in the water. Can we please keep it that way? And my dad said, okay, because you have this fear, you will do scuba diving lessons and you will overcome this fear of the sea. Trailblazer. So, long story short, I end up in this scuba diving class with my older sister and was miserable the entire time. Very miserable. My biggest fear of the sea wasn't necessarily the sea itself. Like I said, it was what? It was in the sea. I had a great fear of sharks. And I think part of that came from Little Mermaid, Disney's Little Mermaid, the beginning scene with Flounder and Ariel. But anywho, I was tricked by the scuba diver instructor multiple times to pass different series within this scuba diving course. And I fell for it like a sucker every single time. Because the one thing that they learned that would work to get me to cooperate was if they could convince me that my sister was in grave danger. Even though she was the reason why I was in this situation that I didn't want to be in, she is still my sister. And I would risk my very life for her. So that's what they did to lure me into doing all of the necessary testing to move along this scuba diving course. And then when it came time to descend down into the deep, they used the same exact tactic. And I suited up and went in as if I was born a pro. I was paying attention to everything that was being taught in the class. In the event something happened where they needed me to help save my sister, that was the only driving why I was paying attention. Well, it worked. They told me my sister needed help, so I suited up and I descended down into the deep. She was fine. She was absolutely fine. But this particular day, the scuba diving instructor, one of them, who did not like me for good reasons. There were some things that I did that was outside of my character that made his job very hard. But what he did this day was beyond what any adult, any human being should ever do to another person, especially a child. My greatest fear happened to be lurking in the waters that very day, right where we had anchored. I didn't know it. If I would have known it, I may have just let my sister. I may have just let my sister. I don't know. I say that now, but I probably wouldn't have. I probably, the way I am, I wouldn't have. I would have still gone. But man, I get down there. Long story short, there is a nurse shark that's over 6 feet that's within a cave. And when I finally get to the group, I see the group of students huddle around the mouth of a cave. And then my sister shoots out away from the group and she goes just fluttering, swimming almost. She's going so fast, she's literally flying under the water. And I roll my eyes behind the mask, thinking, there goes my rebellious sister again, not wanting to follow instructions. So then I go to where the group is, not knowing that she left the area because of what she saw. And she figured that I would follow suit. I didn't. And the instructor then coaxed me to go into the cave. I not knowing that on the floor of the cave was my greatest fear, a shark. And when I came to realize that that creature was literally just feet away from my exposed little tummy, I was already halfway into the cave. And my mediocre swimming abilities would have been no match for this master monster of the sea. So I looked down to it, made eye contact with one of its eyes that was staring right up at me. And I thought to myself, well, this is my chance. This is what I've come for, isn't it? To face my greatest fear. And if I touch this shark and let daddy know I touched it, that I faced my fear, probably he would then let me get off the hook of finishing this scuba diving class, and I can spend the rest of my summer safely secured on the land. Trailblazer, I started to descend towards the shark, and I got about a good 4 feet from its head, its snout. And when I was about to descend just one more pump, something started jerking me from the back. And I just saw black. Fast forward, it was my sister jerking me out. That day, I came face to face with my greatest fear in an environment of where I had very little control over my very being. And in that moment, I decided to surrender, knowing that one of two things were likely to happen. It was going to rip my limb off, and I would then proceed to possibly bleed to death and die. Or a miracle would take place, and it would let me touch it, and then I would just slowly descend back up and then drift back out of the cave, and then I would have a story for the ages to tell. One will never know, because I never got to touch the shark. I believe that day that my sister was a guardian angel that saved my life. It was a high potential that she did save my life that day. This chat today about facing your fears is one of which you may not find yourself in that predicament that I was in. You may find yourself living right now in the present, but feeling stuck to what has been your past story. Parts of your story of which you may not have faced or addressed as yet, or you have taken the time to address them, but you're addressing them still in the same vein of emotional pain that you were once in when that situation or situations occurred. And you're still reliving those fears today. Trailblazer, facing your fear is never anything easy to do. But I want to encourage your heart to know that when we choose to face our fears, it may very well be the catalyst to the freedom and peace of mind that we so deeply desire to experience in our life. Hey, Alex. So, what would those fears look like? I don't know. You know the fear better than I do. It may be a person. It may be a memory of something that happened long ago, but you're afraid of you're afraid of bringing it up. You're afraid of talking about it. You're afraid of even thinking about it because you don't know what it's going to open up or release within you. It could be something that is getting ready to happen and you're not sure how it's going to go. You may not be sure of how you should approach this future event, whatever it is, Trailblazer. In this talk, I want to provide you with just a couple of things of what I did to help me to face my fears. And one of the things was in facing the fears of my past, which were tied to an individual. One of the first things that I had to address was, what is the worst thing that could happen? Now, in this particular situation, the worst thing that could happen is I could lose my life. Could be killed if I face this individual that's tied to my fears. Okay, that's pretty much the worst thing that could happen. You could be killed, right? You could lose your life. I was like, okay, now what is the second worst thing that could happen? I would say the second worst thing that could happen for me in talking to my personal situation was the second worst thing that could happen is if I face this individual, others that's connected to that person and me, they could be harmed permanently. These are real situations and real possibilities based off of what has happened repeatedly for years in what I have observed and experienced in my life with this particular person and seeing what. Anyways, so those are the two main things I had to address. Those two things. First, what's the first worst thing that could happen in facing this fear? Share with you, that was my thought process. Okay, I could die. The second worst thing that could happen, others could be hurt permanently or they could be killed. Right? Okay. So now that we get it, one of the biggest consequences to this is death. Right? Now, the awesome part about facing this is that I knew for myself personally that I wasn't going to be facing this alone. I wasn't going to be going into this situation on my own will because I'm going to be honest with you all. I had no desire whatsoever of going to face this individual facing past anything. I just wanted to live as if though that person no longer existed. I wanted to live as if though all of the things of my past, it happened, it's done and over with. We don't need to talk about it anymore. I'm past it. I'm not living that anymore. But the truth of the matter is, Trailblazer, because I had so much fear tied to that individual based on the past experiences that I had, that individual still had control power and influence over my present future. And the majority of the decisions that I was making was being made from that fear and was leading my health down a path of rapid destruction. So that was the other reality that I had to face, was that I could face this person and I could die quickly, or I could just continue living the way that I'm living, and I'm going to die anyways, but I'm going to die miserably. I'm going to die with this heavy heart. I'm going to die angry. I'm going to die full of fear. I'm going to die without peace of mind. I'm going to die never fully experiencing the greatness of life that I could have experienced if I would have faced this and not allow for my perceptions of this person based on, yeah, the real experiences of what took place to stop me from being able to experience what freedom is. Now, Trailblazer, I'm going to say it again. Doing this is not easy. I don't know what your fear is. I don't know, and it could be multiple fears. I have had multiple fears. I know I still have fears today, but I don't have anywhere as close to the number of fears that I had before that were ravaging and destroying my mental and physical health. I'm going to pause for a moment here. So Alex, a Trailblazer here, she was talking about one of her fears is having step parents, and that her parents have been married all of her life and that they are in the process of divorce. She says she's practicing to trust God as her father in a whole new way. So good. So awesome. Because here's the thing, Trailblazer, you and I can't control what other people are going to do in the choices that they make in their life. But if we're basing our life existence based off of how someone else has lived their life or how they showed up in our life, guess what? We haven't even begun to live yet. We're not living. We're just existing. And it's a pretty burdensome existence. And I didn't want to continue living life based off of my past pains, fears that were now creating new fears in my present future and had me stuck in areas of my life where I'm like, man, if I could get freedom in this area and that area, I would be unstoppable. Yet until I was willing to face what it was I feared most. And when you face what you fear most, it also is going to require accountability. You're going to have to take accountability on the part that you played in this process of holding on to the fear and blaming the people who caused you that pain. There was a lot of accountability I had to take. And in doing that, it freed me. It freed me from having to wait for that person to see the wrong that they did in my story, because guess what? It's not their story. I am the author of my story. And I get to choose and determine by the choices that I make now who will have influence and who will control the narrative that I live today and will be remembered for tomorrow. Facing our fears, again, it isn't easy. However, it comes to a place in our life journey when we reach to that place of where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or we're sick and tired of living out below our potential. Facing our fears is going to become vital to us being able to maximize our potential, to owning our story. Coming up in a week, in a few days, is my Own Your Story, Prioritize Your Well-Being workshop. And it is a power pack, transformative training that I would encourage you, if you're in the Pensacola area or if you're outside of the Pensacola area and you want to come in for it, come in for the workshop. I encourage you to do so. It is life transforming. You're going to be learning how to boost your energy levels by over 300%, how to improve your mood and quality of sleep by over 100%, how to enhance your overall life quality and well being. It is a training that I am so honored to have this privilege to lead. It is one that I was able to lead for a little over 200 attendees just a few years ago on the West Coast. And I'm bringing it to Pensacola for the first time to Pensacola. And other cool news, it's free. Yeah. And this will be the first and the last time that this training will be offered free. And you have 3 opportunities to be able to experience it and access my mind style makeover method that has helped top level executives and Hollywood elites to thrive inside and outside the workplace. What I talk about on here every week in owning your story, you're going to learn the formula that's going to help to connect the dots so that you will be able to do that in your own story. It is for you. You deserve to be able to experience a life of freedom, fulfillment, peace of mind. And it's possible for all of us to have it. It is. It 100% is. And I'm going to let you know right now. I'm going to make sure that I put this disclaimer out from Jump Street. It's going to take work. Everything in life it requires work. Nothing comes overnight. Nothing comes fast. However, the practical strategies that you're going to get access to, you're going to be able to implement immediately and start seeing changes within your physiological and psychological well-being. You don't have to take my word for it. You can just show up and experience it for yourself. Go to my website, www.tabithachristopher.com, www.tabithachristopher.com. And in the very top right-hand corner, if you're looking at the website on a laptop or a computer, you will see upcoming events. You click that, it's going to open up to the registration page. If you're going to my website on your phone or on a tablet, there are going to be 3 lines at the very top right or in the middle, depending on what device you're on, Android or Apple. Click those 3 lines. It's going to drop into a drop-down menu. Click upcoming events, and it's going to open up to the registration page. Scroll, 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 scroll. You're going to put your information in at the very base of the form and make sure you hit register, and then you're good to go. On that registration page, I forgot to mention, you get to choose one of the 3 dates that this training is happening. Choose one of the 3 dates. You only can come to one, all right? And once you click that one, you have your information in there, your name, your email address, and then click the register button to secure your free spot. You're good to go. I hope that talk tonight, Facing Your Fears, was able to just encourage you to start thinking about the things of which you've been avoiding in your life that very well may be playing a very, very huge role in preventing you from owning your story. To think about it and to use some of the tips of what I mentioned tonight. Those questions are good ones to lead into that conversation with yourself on so that you can start the process in facing those fears. But I also want to encourage you, you don't have to face them alone. Come to the workshop. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals that are coming to empower, to improve their life. We're not here to share our sob story and stay stuck in it. No, no, no. When we share, we're looking for solutions so that we can be able to empower and transform our thinking so that we can own our story and power up our health and our life. That's what we do as trailblazers. We come together to lift each other up in love and good works so that we can fulfill the God-given purpose that's on our life. All right, this is so good. I want to share what Alex says here. She says, Yep, that's where I'm at right now. The fear doesn't even compare to the consequences of remaining in that fear. Praise God. And she said it's totally encouraging and thought provoking. Thank you as always, Tabitha. You're so welcome, Alex. I want to thank you for always tuning in whenever we go live on the Mind Style Makeover Monday. Trailblazers, I hope that you continue to have the most amazing Labor Day ever. And I look forward to seeing you guys later on this week in the feed. And possibly might pop on again for another conversation on owning your story. God bless and enjoy the rest of tonight.